Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to our Sunday service, and a special welcome to those of you joining us for the first time. We will begin our service with the ringing of the kansho, followed by the chanting of Jusege. You could follow along on the screen or in the purple service book in front of you, page 93.
Namandap, 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 namandap.
Okay, we will now have the reading of three treasures, followed by Sankyemon.
I invite you all to please put your hands together as we recite together the three treasures. Hard is it to receive a human form. Now we have received it. Difficult is it to hear the Buddha Dharma. Now we hear it. If we do not receive awakening in this life, in what life shall we do so? Let us reverently take refuge together in the three treasures of the truth. I take refuge in the Buddha. Together with all beings, may we attain the great way of enlightenment, awakening to the supreme intent of the Buddha. I take refuge in the Dharma. Together with all beings, may we enter the storehouse of Dharma, acquiring wisdom as deep as the ocean. I take refuge in the Sangha. Together with all beings, may we become united at the great assembly, being free of all bondage. Hard is it to encounter the supreme, profound, and wondrous Dharma, even in 100,000 million kalpa. Now we are able to hear and receive it. Let us thoroughly understand the true intent of the Tathagata. Sankyemon. Ninjin ukigatashi imasure ni uku. Buppo kikigatashi imasure ni kiku. Konomi konjo ni mukatte dosezun ba, sarani izure no shou ni mukatte ka konomi o dosen. Daishu moro tomo ni shishin ni sanbo ni kieshi tate matsuru beshi. Mizu kara butsu ni kieshi tate matsuru. Masa ni negamaku wa shujou to tomo ni daido o taigeshite mujou yo okosan. Mizu kara hou ni kieshi tate matsuru. まさに願わくは衆生と共に深く共造に入りて知恵海のごとくならん。自らそうに消えし立て祭る。まさに願わくは衆生と共に大衆を通りして一切無下ならん。無常人人未明の方は百千万語にもあようことかたし。我今検問し受持することへたり、願わくは如来の真実義を下し立てまつらん。ナモアミダブツ、ナマンダブ、ナマンダブツ、ナマンダブ、ナマンダブツ、ナマンダブ、ナマンダブツ。ナマンダブツ、ナマンダブ、ナマンダブツ。
Will deliver her Dharma message. I invite you to once again please join me in Gasho as I read a poem written by Venerable Shinran. We should repay the benevolence of the Tathagata's great compassion, even if our bodies become dust. We should also thank the benevolence of the Buddhist masters and Dharma teachers, even if our bones are shattered. Namandapts, namandap, namandapts. Good morning, everyone. It's very nice to see everyone. Thank you very much for coming today. If anyone's here joining us for the first time, we offer you a special welcome. Anyone here or on Zoom, thank you very much for joining us. Can you believe it that this week is already Thanksgiving? It's already Thanksgiving. Are you excited? Stressed out?
I think, it's probably a mix for some of us about how we feel. But whatever our relationship is with this holiday this year, it never hurts to reflect on what we are thankful for in our lives. Sometimes that's hard to do, but I know that in our everyday world, we are often being encouraged to be thankful for our family, friends, loved ones, etc. And sometimes we're even encouraged to be thankful for and highly value our material belongings. And so people say we should be thankful for our wealth and sometimes our health. But since we are here at the temple, it's important for us, I think, to reflect on how the Buddha Dharma guides us in what we are encouraged to be thankful for. The passage that I've just read comes from Venerable Shinran's collection of poems on the three Dharma ages. And this is actually a very famous poem. It's called Ondoksan. For those of you who might have been following Shinshu for a little while, you may have heard of the poem Ondoksan. We sing it often. In Japanese, you may have heard it as Nyorai dai no. You know that? Some of you might know that song. And this poem, the title of this poem, Ondoksan, means poem expressing indebtedness for receiving compassion. So because our forebears have, picked this poem out, made it into a very important song for our tradition, we know, that this poem is something that we should cherish. And in this poem, Venerable Shinran is expressing his deep gratitude, not just gratitude, but indebtedness to Tathagata and the Buddhist masters and Dharma teachers, through which he was able to meet Amida's fundamental vow of great compassion. Perhaps for us today, it may sound extreme that we should do this until our bones are dust or our bodies are shattered. But what I think he's expressing is that we should always express our wish to repay the Buddha and thank the masters and teachers throughout our entire lives, to the point that we are cremated when our bodies and bones are shattered and turned into powder. In other words, we should spend our whole lives repaying Amida, Shakyamuni, and the Buddhist masters and teachers who have made it possible for us to encounter and hear this teaching. Again, maybe we might think, oh, that makes me feel uncomfortable. That's a little bit too extreme. Till our bodies are dust? Sounds very dark. But besides expressing his own feelings towards Buddha and the masters, Venerable Shinran, I think, is trying to challenge the Nembutsu followers to really question what our priorities are in life. Are we really understanding what is true and valuable and what is false and fleeting? Do we understand why we are being challenged to realign our thinking? Do we really understand what is being given to us? And do we know what we are receiving in this wisdom and compassion? When I was just most recently in Japan, as I mentioned before, we were in Kyushu visiting my family, but there was one day when we had a little bit of free time, half a day. So my father asked, is there anything special you want to do since we're here? And the last time I was in Kyushu was maybe 7 or 8 years ago, and Maria and I had gone to Nagasaki. Have you heard of the city Nagasaki? It's a very famous city. Many people know it for the bombing, but for me, what is important about it is that they have some food that I really like there. I was introduced last time I was there to a snack called kakuni manju. Kakuni means braised pork. Manju means that it's in a bun. So it's this braised pork belly inside a folded bread bun. Oh, so good. It's kind of like if you've ever eaten Peking duck at a Chinese restaurant, how it comes in those little buns. It's that kind of bun. If you can ever go, I recommend this dish. It's not a dish, snack, yeah. But this snack is really only sold in Nagasaki. So I said I wanted to go there just for the snack. And also it's known for it's a Japanese sponge cake called castera that I think comes from Spain originally. But so Nagasaki is known for this kakuni manju and castera. So I said, we have to go there for this half-day trip. So we took the train, it was like a little over an hour ride there. And upon arriving, it was raining, so we were like, oh, we don't want to we don't want to walk or take the streetcars. Let's just take a taxi to where we want to go. So as we were walking outside the train station toward the taxi station, I happened to see a Buddhist monk outside standing there with a bowl, and he was chanting. So I'm not 100% sure what denomination he was from, but maybe Zen or another monastic denomination. But no one was paying attention to him. People were just walking past him as he's chanting. Nobody was giving him donation. And I said, well, I feel so bad. I think I want to go support him in his monastery. So I stopped, I paused, starting to get my coin purse out. Then all of a sudden I heard my family call me. We got a cab, hurry. We don't have much time. We only have a certain amount of time we can be here. And so I was like, oh my gosh, I can't get lost here. So I put my coin purse away, and I decided, I can't worry about this now, and I ran to meet up with my family. And I was like, I have to get my kakuni and my castera. And I was kind of feeling, oh shoot, even though that was like a fellow student of the Buddha Dharma, I should have taken my time to pay my respects to the monk. But I was too scared to get left behind from my family or them getting upset with me, and I was too scared I was going to waste any time to not get the food, the reason that I came to Nagasaki. And as I got in the cab, man, it really made me think about how easy it is to put other things in front of the Buddha Dharma and not take the Buddha Dharma as seriously as I could or should. It made me think about the priorities and values that I have in my life, not just me, but all of us as people. And I was especially reminded how, due to my self-centered cravings, this time literally food cravings and afflictions, it can be difficult at times to choose the Buddha Dharma over other things in life. I'm asking you this not to put anybody on blast. You don't have to raise your hand. But how many of us have experienced staying out too late on a Saturday and decided, oh, it's too hard to get up on Sunday and come to temple? Or perhaps we wake up and we're like, oh, I'm just too tired. I don't feel like seeing people. I'm not going to go. Or maybe we prefer to see other people and go have brunch. The list can go on of priorities we might put ahead of listening to the Buddha Dharma. And again, I'm not saying this to put anyone on blast or make anyone feel guilty or bad about not coming to temple, because I too have had similar experiences and feelings in my life. But I think it's important for us to recognize this truth about ourselves. For those of us who have difficulty prioritizing the Buddha Dharma in our lives, it's especially for us that Amida established the vow of great compassion, which is reaching out to us. In other words, because we are people who may turn ourselves away from the Buddha Dharma, or not acknowledge it, or not be able to make the effort to go to it ourselves, Amida Tathagata reaches out and shares its wisdom and compassion with us unconditionally. This is the message, the teaching that the Shakyamuni, the Buddhist masters, and the Dharma teachers before us want us to hear and receive. And that is why they left us sutras, commentaries, various texts, etc., things such as this poem, so that each of us can become aware of this wisdom and compassion that unceasingly reaches out to all of us. When we are able to understand how this great compassion of Amida works, this then becomes a paradox for us. The more we realize how unappreciative we can be of the Buddha Dharma and Amida's vow in our everyday lives, the more we can begin to appreciate Amida's vow for never ceasing to neglect us and continue to bestow the Buddha Dharma onto us. This is the heart of the teaching that Venerable Shinran encountered for himself and wished to pass on to following generations. In Shinshu, this is described as realizing that the more ignorance and cravings we have, the more the Nembutsu is reaching out to us, working in our lives. And this relationship is said to be like ice and water. The more ice there is, the more water that will come out of it. Once we become aware of this relational paradox, we can begin to take the moments when we realize we are overly elevating our worldly relationships, material belonging, etc., and we can begin to realign ourselves towards the Buddha Dharma. These types of moments are what we can consider the compassionate wisdom of the Buddha working in our lives. And as time goes on, the more often we have these types of moments scattered in our lives, the more we can come to realize how much we owe to the Buddha's great compassion and the masters and teachers who have given us this teaching. In the Ryogemon that we read at just about every Dharma service, and we will read after this message, the last line that we read is as follows. We also acknowledge gratefully the benign benevolence of our founder and succeeding masters who have led us to live in this profound teaching, and we do now endeavor to follow throughout our lives the way laid down for us. To endeavor to follow the way does not only mean to abide by the wisdom and compassion of the Dharma, but to also express our deep indebtedness to the Buddha and the masters, etc. The line we read before that is, we recite the Nembutsu, Namo Amida Butsu, in joy and gratitude for the Buddha's compassion. So how do we repay the Buddha's benevolence and the benevolence of the preceding Buddhist masters in our lives? We are taught that we should recite the Nembutsu. This is how we can express our wish to repay the Buddha. By continuing to recite the Nembutsu, awake or asleep, for as long as we live, until our bones are shattered, until our bodies are turned to powder. Reciting the Nembutsu is not only our verbal expression of thanks, but it is a way for the Nembutsu to be put out into the world for others to hear it. And thus, we repay the Buddha by sharing the joy of the Buddha Dharma through our recitation of Nembutsu. We pass it forward, not only through the Nembutsu, but living our lives in accord with the Nembutsu. And doing our best, which means to do our best to live in line with its values within our own karmic condition. So this week, as we observe the holiday of Thanksgiving, and we reflect on what we are thankful for in our lives, yes, we may definitely be thankful for our friends, family, loved ones, whoever we consider support in our lives. And there may be a whole other list, a litany of worldly and material things that we may wish to list. But let's also try to remember to recite the Nembutsu to thank Amida, Shakyamuni, and the masters who have led us to be able to live in this profound teaching. Let us also remember that even if Amida's vow is not on the top of our lists, Amida never turns its back on us, and for that, we can be deeply grateful. With that, I wish you all a very happy Thanksgiving, and I hope that you can all have a safe and enjoyable holiday, and try not to get too stressed out over anything. I would now like to conclude my message by reading a letter by Master Renyo. I invite you to please put your hands together or bow your heads as I read the letter. Lay people in the latter age who lack wisdom should deeply rely on Amida Buddha with singleness of heart, entrusting themselves to the Buddha single-mindedly and unwaveringly for their emancipation without turning their thoughts to other matters. However deep and heavy their evil karma may be, Amida Tathagata unfailingly saves them. This is the essence of the 18th vow that assures our birth in the Pure Land through the Nembutsu. Once our heart is thus settled, We should say the Nembutsu whether awake or asleep for as long as we live. Humbly and respectfully. 万代無知の在家信順の何よたらん友柄は心一つにして阿弥陀仏と深く頼み参らせてさらに世の方へ心振らず一心に子にぶ助けたまえ友さん主情ばたとえ在後魔人獣なりとも必ず皆如来は救いましますべし。これすなわち第18の伝聞の上の世願の心なり。核のごとく献上しての上には寝ても覚めても命のあらん限りは称名念仏すべきものなりあらかしこあらかしこナモアミダ仏ナマンダ仏ナマンダナマンダナマンダ仏ナマンダナマンダ仏ナマンダナマンダ仏ナマンダナマンダ仏。
Okay, now if you would please follow along as we read Ryogemon.
Once again, please, I invite you to put your hands together as we recite together Ryogemon, words of understanding of our tradition. We rely upon Amida Buddha with our whole heart for the enlightenment in the life to come, abstaining from all sundry practices and teachings, and giving up the trust in our imperfect view. There is no doubt that the assurance of enlightenment comes at the very moment we entrust and we recite the Nembutsu Namo Amida Butsu in joy and gratitude for the Buddha's compassion. We also acknowledge gratefully the benign benevolence of our founder and succeeding masters who have led us to live in this profound teaching, and we do now endeavor to follow throughout our lives the way laid down for us. Ryoge Shutsugon. Moro moro no zogyo zashu jiriki no kokoro o furisutete 一心に阿弥陀如来我らが今度の一大事のご賞御助け将来と頼み申して候頼む一年の時往生一条御助け事情と存じこの上の称名はご恩報者と存じ喜び申し候この御断り弔問申し訳候ことご解散承認ご出世のご恩次第僧正の全知識の朝からざるご関係のご恩とありがたく存じ候この上は定めおかせられる恩をきて一号限り守り申すべく候ナモアミダ仏Namandap, namandap, 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 namandap.
Thank you, Sensei. I forgot to thank you earlier for your Dharma message. Now we have announcements. So on December the 7th at 10 o'clock, we have our Bodhi Day Dharma service. And our guest speaker at that time will be Reverend John Turner, who is the resident minister of the Orange County Buddhist Temple. December the 13th is our West LA Mochitsuki event. Starts at 8 o'clock. It's a really fun event. If you've never attended, please do so. Now, we do have order blanks on the back table, so orders are actually due today. And they're $5 for 1 pound. It's about 8 pieces per tray. So if you would like to order some, please order today. Then the following day, because we make such a mess On the 13th, we have our general cleanup on the 14th, which will start at 9 o'clock. And we invite all of you to come and help just clean up the temple. We vacuum, dust, tidy up the kitchen. So if you can attend, we would appreciate it. December the 31st is our New Year's Eve service. That will begin at 6 o'clock. And then traditionally after the service, we all line up and we get to ring in the new year by ringing the bell, which is outside. On the 1st is our New Year's Day service, and that again starts at 1 o'clock. I'm sorry, I wish it's 1, but it's 10 o'clock in the morning. So you're all invited to come and attend the New Year's Day service. Now, on December the 7th, if you have any young children or any grandkids, we do have our monthly Dharma Kids program, and Reverend Umezu heads that up, so please bring the kids. Then on January the 11th is our New Year's luncheon. It's $25 per person. For the children, it's $20. And we purchase a pre-made bento. It's really delicious. We will have entertainment that day. We have Abasonics, a band that plays 60s and 70s music. They're out of the WLABT. And I think we might have some traditional Japanese music as well. We're working on that. So please try to attend our New Year's party. Now on, let's see, January the 31st, LA Nishibetsuin, they will be hosting the Winter Pacific seminar, and it's entitled Artificial Intelligence Jodo Shinshu. And the guest speaker is Reverend Maurizio Hondaku Jigo Noto. I don't know if that's the correct pronunciation. I don't know. Anyway, it's from 9 to 12. And if you do want to go, then please call the temple to register. We will register as a group. And the deadline to register is the 17th of January. Now, if you do attend bingo, there's no bingo in January, so we will continue again in no bingo in December. We will resume in January, and that'll be the 3rd Friday of the month. And then finally, we have a few items that we do sell. First one, I'm sure you've all seen it before, but it's our temple t-shirt with our logo in the back. And then in the front, just very simply, WLABT. And these are $20 each. We have 2 styles, crew neck and V-neck. And then additionally, we have our happy. Also, our logo in the back. And then in the front in Japanese, it'll say West Los Angeles Buddhist Temple. So if you're a member, these are $80 each. For non-members, they're $90 each. Now, I do want to remind everyone that there's no service next week, so please don't come, okay? And with that, that will conclude our service for today. Again, thank you all for coming. I wish you all a very happy Thanksgiving. And I don't know, do we have refreshments today? Okay, so if you have some time, please join us in the back for some light refreshments. All right, Sensei?
I just wanted to add to what Connie said about temple cleanup. We do make a mess, and so that is one of the reasons we clean, but also cleaning the temple at the year end is a Japanese Buddhist practice to show our respect to the temple and to prepare for the new year. So besides cleaning the social hall, Sensei and I also clean up this area, so we invite anyone who would like to come vacuum and clean the pews and whatnot, and is a way to show respect to the Buddha Dharma. So thank you very much. I hope to see you all after Thanksgiving. So please join me in Gassho. Namo Amida Butsu. Naman Dap, Naman Daps, Naman Dap, Naman Daps, Naman.